Late spring 1945, the very hot sun burned the ground of the short-time prisoner camp in North Germany. The air felt heavy with what was left after fighting, a mix of dirt, sadness, and the strong smell of fast-building work. Between the lines of quickly built houses and circles of sharp wire, something that looked very bad was about to happen. An action that would make the soldiers think hard about what their job really meant, about feeling sorry for others, and about the thin line between army rules and simple human kindness. Before we go further, every day we make videos like this, so please subscribe so you never miss a new story. Back to the story. Sergeant Major Arthur Davies, a soldier who had fought in North Africa and Europe, had seen all the terrible things of the Second World War. At 32, his back carried the hidden weight of years fighting from El Alamein to the Rhineland. The long, hard fights had made him a strong and careful leader without officer rank. But under the tough outside of the trained soldier, the old train worker from Manchester still kept a strong belief in fair treatment and basic human respect, a lesson taught by his dead father. He often thought of his father's last words. Always remember that the man on the other side is still a man. The last months of the war in Europe had been full of destruction that ended with Germany giving up. This made a big need to check and keep hundreds of thousands of German army soldiers and helpers, so huge prisoner camps were made with not enough things. The work needed was very big. Food and clean water were given only a little. Talking was hard because of different languages, and the big pressure on the British soldiers who now controlled the area was huge. Davies did his normal walk through the separate part made for female helpers and cot nurses, women who had helped the German war and now waited for their official place and later to go home. These women were doctors, office workers, and radio workers, people often caught in the war no matter what they believed. World agreements, mostly the Geneva Rules, said the lowest good treatment for prisoners. But in the total mess and lack after the war in Germany, following these rules was often broken because it was simply impossible in real life. Elsa Richter sat on a thin bed inside the badly aired house, her eyes fixed on the worn edges of her war uniform dress. At 26, she had worked as a radio helper until her group gave up 1 month before. Her training had taught strict rules and service to the German state. But now, with no army around her, she was only a cot woman in a tired, useful dress. A burning non-stop pain came from her lower back and side, a problem that had grown fast in the last 2 days. She knew the signs from her simple first-help training, maybe a kidney stone stuck. Without fast doctor help, maybe needing a special operation, the danger of very bad infection and kidney stop was sadly high. But how could she tell her guards how bad her inside problem was? The guards knew little German, and her own English was only broken small sentences. Private Thomas "Tommy" Allen, a young man from London who had been a driver for most of the war, had been moved to guard work at the camp only 1 week before. Just 20 years old, this was his first close time with caught enemy people. He carried a small leather notebook, a gift from his sister, where he quietly drew pictures of the prisoners and the camp views. He felt he had to write down the real truth of what was happening, sure that the true story of the war end was in the faces and lives of the beaten people. Major Alistair Finch was the camp's main doctor, a normal family doctor in Glasgow before the army called him. The 40-year-old doctor now ran a medical place, always fighting big lack of helpers and things. Every day he had to make hard right-wrong choices, forced to help the very badly hurt soldiers first more than the many but less bad sick prisoners. The heart pain from this was huge, but he kept his eyes on fixing the now problem to save as many lives as possible. Colonel Hugh Macmillan was the camp boss, an army man whose leading was made of strict rules and never-changing orders. At 48, his fighting days were finished. But his big knowledge in moving things and paperwork made him needed to run the prisoner place. His reading of the Geneva Rules was word for word. Prisoners must get only the very smallest food, water, and house needed. He kept a strong work distance, believing that any too much kindness to the old enemy was wrong to the British soldiers who had died. Sister Margaret O'Malley was one of the few British Army women who chose field work, working very hard with the Royal Army Medical Corps. She had moved across Europe with the moving army, helping hurt people on both sides. At 35, she was known for her operation skill and a surprisingly soft kindness. She had learned normal talking German from meeting normal people and caught doctors. This let her see prisoners as people first and workers second. It was Sister O'Malley who first saw Elsa Richter's very bad pain. During her morning clean and care check of the women's houses, She saw Elsa bent over, her face white and wet with cold sweat even in the cool house air. O'Malley knelt by the bed, speaking softly in her learned German. Elsa could only whisper the one word for kidney, pointing with a shaking hand to her lower side and making a pain face. O'Malley's heart stopped. She knew the signs of a very bad kidney problem. If a stone was blocking the tube, the growing swelling and infection could become deadly blood poison in days without strong help. O'Malley ran to find Major Finch, her boots making loud noise on the hard dirt path. She found him in the first help area working on a soldier's very bad metal wound infection. She fast told the details of the problem, watching Finch's face become tight with WWII, and then the sad truth about what they had. They had no clean room for real operation, no picture machine for inside body, and a camp boss who wanted reason for every small thing spent on enemy people. But both of them were tied by the doctor promise that goes above country love. Finch fast took his simple doctor bag and followed O'Malley back. He did a quick but full body check, gently but strong pressing the pain place. When he pressed Elsa's belly inside, she cried out, the pain making her muscles hard, a clear sign of very bad swelling and trouble with maybe blocked water system. Finch looked at his watch. They had maybe 24 hours to be sure of the sickness and try to make her safe before the danger of deadly infection became too big. The now problem was body and real. Elsa's uniform dress, thick heavy wool made for hiding body and lasting long, was tied and buttoned tight. To do a good full belly and lower back check, to use the few check tools they had, and to get ready for any fast help operation they needed fast full open way to her upper body. Asking her to slowly take off clothes would be very painful and long for a woman in her state, especially with men there, and they had no time for long talking with help. Finch made the big danger choice. They would have to cut away enough of the dress to check the place well and, if needed, get ready for the fast help operation. He knew he needed someone he could trust, a leader who could do a hard, maybe anger-making order fast and without stop. He sent O'Malley to get Sergeant Major Davies. Davies was in the supply tent checking doctor things when O'Malley gave the fast message, telling Finch's orders and how hard the needed action was. Davies felt a sick twist in his stomach. This was not a fight action. This was a very close personal thing. He was asked to touch a scared, hurting prisoner by pulling her clothes apart. Even with people watching and Dr. Need, the action felt like breaking her respect, going against his father's lesson about respect. But the years of fighting had also taught him that war often made men do things that felt wrong but had to be done. They went back to where Elsa lay, now almost not knowing what was happening from pain. Major Finch had already got the unhappy slow yes from Colonel Macmillan, who said every small thing must be written and seen by others to keep the camp safe from later blame of bad treatment. Private Allen was told to take pictures of all of it, making a cannot deny picture proof that would explain the looking bad action. Allen swallowed hard, his hands not shaking as he got his camera ready. This was a truth he had not thought he would record. Finch knelt next to Elsa and spoke slowly, using clear hand moves to talk. He pointed to her side, made a fast cutting move with his hand, then pointed to the doctor help tent. Elsa's eyes, cloudy from pain, grew wide for a second with fear, but also with knowing. She was a trained helper. She understood how fast her sickness needed help. With tears of pain and fear running down her face, she gave one very small nod, giving her yes the only way she could. Davies stood next to her, his hands strong even with his inside trouble. Finch gave the now order. Davies took the heavy wool cloth of Elsa's uniform at the lower side and pulled with one strong fast move. The sound of the cloth breaking was very loud in the sudden quiet fear. Other prisoners close reacted fast, some shouting in mixed German anger, thinking the soldier was doing a new bad hurt. British guards fast made a clear circle around the doctor team. The broken part of the dress right away showed Elsa's very swollen lower side. Major Finch right away kept checking, now able to feel the hurt place well and be sure of the hard and very sore feel. His fast best guess sickness was sure. A very bad and maybe death-making block and next infection. Without fast strong doctor help, maybe a cut operation, the young woman would die in hours. He looked up at Davies and gave a fast yes nod. Davies had done the hard needed thing. The shocking picture taken by Allen's camera would be explained by Dr. Fast Need, taking away any thought of bad or mean reason. They fast moved Elsa onto a carry bed and took her to the short-time doctor tent. O'Malley got the small place and few things ready. Finch washed his hands with the few drops of clean liquid they had, while Davies and Allen kept the place safe. Colonel Macmillan stood at the tent door, his face impossible to read, watching the never-before use of rare doctor things on an enemy prisoner. But even Macmillan knew that some wrong choices, letting a life go because of paper-cold heart, would follow a man forever. The help work, which meant giving the few germ killers pain stop and trying non-cut way to free the block, took 2 very hard hours. Finch worked with full strong focus, O'Malley helping with good practice. They had come just in time. The stone had moved a little, but the infection was bad and growing fast. They made her safe, giving the highest germ killer they could. Davies waited outside the tent with Allen, both men quiet. Davies thought of his father again, of the simple belief in treating people fair. He hoped this moment, this hard action, would be remembered not as wrong, but as a saving kindness. When Major Finch came out 2 hours later, his face tired and heavy, but his look had quiet sure. Elsa Richter would live, if the infection was stopped and she got full aftercare. He looked at Davies and held out his hand. Davies shook it, a quiet same feeling going between the two men. They had on purpose broken rules, used things not given for enemy prisoners, and risked their place to save one prisoner's life, and they both knew they had done the only thing possible. The event could have stayed a closed paper, forgotten in the many war-end files, but Private Allen carefully wrote and pictured every part with his camera and book. The photo of Sergeant Major Davies pulling Elsa's dress, alone, looked very bad. A big British soldier strongly opening a helpless German woman. Without the full story, it could easily be seen as clear bad treatment or war wrong. But Allen's full writing, the doctor papers, Finch's sickness name, the fast need, the life-save help, and the weeks of aftercare told the true story. As Elsa slowly got better, Allen talked to every person, writing their words to make sure history would judge this moment by truth, not just looks. News of the event went through both British and German parts of the camp. The German prisoners, who first felt horror and anger, slowly understood what really happened. Elsa, when she was strong enough, told her fellow prisoners that the British doctors had saved her from sure death, and that the soldier who broke her dress did it not from mean, but from total need. She got care she knew was very special for a prisoner of war. Sister O'Malley checked Elsa every day during her slow better time. Through their growing shared words, a mix of broken German and English, a human link started to grow. O'Malley learned about Elsa's past, her forced army work, and her dream to be a teacher. Elsa learned about O'Malley's life in Britain, her love for doctor work, and her hope that healing could go above the big splits made by war. 3 weeks after the big help, Elsa was strong enough to walk alone. She asked for a meeting with Sergeant Major Davies, helped by a word changer. She wanted to say thank you face to face and write. Davies felt very uneasy, saying no to being a hero for only doing a doctor order, but he said yes to the meeting. They sat in the quiet doctor tent, the word changer carefully changing their words. Elsa spoke long, giving her deep thank you, her full knowing of the hard choice Davies had to make, and her belief that his choice to put her life first even when she was enemy showed real good heart. Davies listened, his face red from shy, trying to give the thank to Major Finch. But Elsa said no. She knew army ways. She knew Davies could have waited, asked more, or done the job cold. He had chosen careful kindness. Colonel Macmillan, watching this quiet talk from the side, felt a big shake to his hard rule-only view. His work life was built on clear walls between us and them. But seeing this German prisoner truly thank a British leader for saving her life made him see his old thinking was not enough. War made enemies, but it could not kill all human feeling. Rules were needed, but kindness was more. The war in Europe was over, and sending German people home started in the next months. Elsa was one sent home later that autumn, the mark on her side a hidden but forever sign of her hard time. The memory of the British people who saved her was a strong, clear change in how she saw the world. Before she left, she gave O'Malley a small, carefully cut wooden bird she had kept safe all her prisoner time, a small, real sign of thank you and peace. O'Malley took it with feeling, promising to remember Elsa and keep working for a world where sick people are just sick, no matter old uniform. Private Allen put together his full report with pictures, talks, and his own words, giving it to the Army record place in hope of true history. The report was kept secret and put away with many other war papers to stay unseen for many years. Davies went back to his train job in Manchester. Like many old soldiers, he almost never talked about the war. The bad things, the lost friends, the hard right-wrong choices all stayed closed inside. But sometimes, in the quiet alone of his life, he would remember that day in the German camp, the sound of cloth breaking, and the young woman's life waiting. In those alone times, he let himself feel quiet, sure that in the huge war machine, he had done a very good thing. Years went by. Japan and Germany changed from beaten enemies to needed world friends. The small personal stories, the tiny moments of human link and good choice made in hot war were mostly forgotten. In 1985, a history woman looking at how female fighters were treated after war in Europe prisoner camps found Allen's full report in the British big record place. The clear, full writing and the strong photo got her attention fast. She found the people in the story. Major Finch, now a very respected cut doctor in Edinburgh. Sister O'Malley running a care home for dying in Dublin. Colonel Macmillan, stopped work and living quiet thinking in Scottish Hills. Private Allen, a very known picture newsman in London, and Sergeant Major Davies, still working train, getting ready to stop work. She also found Elsa Richter, now Elsa Veerer after marriage. Elsa had made her dream true, becoming a very loved high school teacher in Berlin, spending her work years teaching world understanding and working together. The soft going-away mark on her side was her private forever memory of the day enemy soldiers chose to save her life. The history woman made a small meeting for a film project, filming talks with each person. For the first time in 40 years, Davies and Elsa met again, both now in their 60s. Their looks changed by years, but the knowing was fast and very deep feeling. Through a job word changer, they at last had the full talk they could not have in the tent. Elsa told Davies how that one moment of care had made her whole life, giving her power to teach, forgive, and strong heart. Davies, still not good with big feeling, only said his true happy that she had lived to make a good life. The film caught the quiet power of their meeting again, going from strange to deep shared past. When the film came out, it gave an important opposite story to the simple telling of the Europe War. It showed British soldiers and German prisoners as full people able to fight and also give surprise kindness. The photo of Davies breaking Elsa's dress, taken out of its first scary story, changed into a strong world sign of Dr. Duty going above country lines. The story, of course, made hard questions. Why was this life-save care so special that it needed so much writing? How many other Dr. Fast needs went sadly without help in the huge prisoner system because of little things or bosses not wanting to spend on enemy? The history proof showed death numbers in all prisoner camps, different but big. Elsa living was special because it needed Finch's brave choice, Macmillan's needed yes, O'Malley's kind push, and Davies's ready to do a shocking hard order. All these small person choices together saved one human life. The culture part was also looked at. The strong breaking of Elsa's dress, while Dr. No Choice, had deep meaning in German life, a break of body respect and good manners. That Elsa could in the end forgive this break, knowing the need behind, said a lot about her own strong heart and clear right thinking. Major Finch in his talk spoke about the hard line of war doctor work. Every choice had a basic fight, how to say yes to using rare doctor things on a prisoner when British soldiers might need them. He had lived with these painful questions for many years, and the film made him say them out loud. Sister O'Malley, speaking from her care home, strongly said that doctor work loses meaning if it is not for all. The moment a doctor or nurse starts counting a patient's worth by country, the main rules of the job are broken. Her choice to see Elsa's problem and fight for her help was natural, an answer from years of learning that saw only sick and well, not friend and enemy. Colonel Macmillan's talk was maybe the most feeling showing. Stopped work and thinking back, he said his hard only lowest rules was a way to run from right-wrong feeling, a way to not make the harder choice of what was good over what was only needed. His yes to Finch's help was paperwork, a cold cover for his own safety, not kindness. He learned from that wrong, he said, but the lesson cost almost letting a woman die from cold paper heart. Professor Allen, the picture newsman, told his job as the careful writer. His photos and words were first a safe way against wrong blame, but with time they became much more real proof that human good could and did stay in the worst no human place possible. The film ended with video of the full meeting again, a get-together in London in 1986. The 6 people, Davies and Elsa in the middle, with the others around, told stories, memories, and saw the great power of the one moment that tied their lives. Elsa spoke about her work, her try to teach young kids to see people first and country second. Davies, in a rare open moment, said he often thought of Elsa, wondering if she lived, hoping his hard action had meaning. The film was shown a lot, making the torn dress story a learned case in war. Dr. Right Wrong, Good Heart, and Cross People Understanding. The strong picture Right explained changed from maybe proof of bad to a strong picture of life save help. The deepest effect was personal. The children and grandchildren of the people learned this very hard human part of their family past. Davies's son got new knowing of why his father never talked about the war, seeing he had carried both very bad things and real good hero acts. Elsa's children learned their mother's life was because of fast choices of foreign soldiers who could have just looked away. They grew up with a much fuller knowing of the war, seeing that even in that dark, a clear, strong light had been given. The story is still learned. Army Right Wrong teachers look at it as a main example of good choice in impossible place. History people study it as a window into the full human moving of the war. And normal people reading the story are reminded that even in full war, person choices always count. In the end, the shocking reason that Sergeant Major Davies broke the dress of a German woman prisoner was the simplest and most good reason possible: to save her life. There was no hard secret, no hidden government plan, no bad wish, just a doctor fast need, little time, and the human choice to act fast. In a war that took millions of lives by planned hurt, this moment was made by planned kindness. The memory lives on. Elsa's family now has helped workers and teachers who keep her wish for healing and knowing across all lines. Davies's family, keeping his normal worker roots, actively help Dr. Goodwork groups around the world, honoring his memory by giving the hard kindness he showed that day in Germany. History remembers wars by numbers, fights, and papers. But war is also made of many small person moments, choices that finally decide if human good lives through the fight or becomes one more lost thing. The story of Sergeant Major Davies and Elsa Richter reminds us that even when countries fight to death, single people can still choose kindness over cold, life over death, and human feeling over hate. The broken dress became a sign not of hurt, but of healing, not of split between enemies, but of the shared human part that war tries but cannot fully kill. And the shocking reason once told changed from maybe bad news into a forever light. Proof that the best of human heart can win even in the worst of human times. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel. There are many more true stories like this. Stories of brave, kind, and human hearts in the darkest days. Don't miss the next one.